offTopik. I'm Tanya.
I'm Kim. And welcome. This is our Sisterhood panel right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to have you guys introduce yourselves.
But before we do that, follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Spotify,
Apple.
And I don't like saying Apple because I have an Android, but it's fine.
It's fine. We're on everything.
Yes, we're on all the platforms. So please follow, share, and shout out to Sizu Designs, one of our sponsors as well. She's amazing. Holidays coming up.
Yes.
I need a nice cup.
Me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna be great.
And some shirts.
Yes.
Oh my God.
We'll do that.
Yeah. So the holidays are coming, so definitely reach out to her. She's amazing. Awesome. If you kind of already seen some of our shirts, we have our cups, our pens. We have our QR code. We're out there. Yep. So really do comment, subscribe. On all platforms, absolutely. You will like us because we're awesome.
Yeah.
So
humility is part of this conversation today.
Oh yeah, wait, sorry.
But as Kim was saying, this is our Sisterhood panel. We had we're closing out our Sisterhood season this time, and we wanted to share a platform with these ladies because each one have an amazing story and they have things on their heart. We just thought this is a perfect opportunity because someone seeing it or someone watching it or listening to it can relate. Okay, so we'll start from here and then we can go around and you could just give your name and I don't know if you want to say something about yourself, you can. Or
why did you join us? Like, why did you join Sisterhood?
That's a good question.
Because we're cool. I mean, I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm working on it.
Like that.
Okay.
I know, right?
I'm Natalie. Why did I join? Technically, I didn't join.
Oh, okay.
But you joined us in certain things. Well, no, she joins us with things because you went to the.
But I did get invited to a few things. I got invited to the Sound of Freedom, and then I got invited to this.
Yes.
So it's just a good way to get to know other people and to expose yourself more to good things.
Yeah.
That
absolutely.
You don't usually.
I might get back to you on that because I have a feeling that that's a problem for you.
She's like, let's not.
Yeah, let's talk about it. No,
you didn't bring out your shoulder. You would have brought your shoulder. She would have been like, okay, she good. She's confident.
Who's she flirting with?
Hi, I'm Jeanette, and I joined this group because I wanted to know more about Sound of Freedom and human trafficking, and also because I'd never joined Tanya's Sisterhood, and she kind of made me feel guilty.
God's persuasion, not guilty.
But I love it, and I loved getting to know these ladies, and I really enjoy all of it.
We enjoy you.
We enjoy you.
Yes.
Oh.
We did it all very
I'm Maria.
Hello.
It's funny how everybody acts so different when there's a mic and a camera. I'm like,
I'm like, we do this all the time, so we're fine.
I joined Sisterhood because I feel like, even though I do have a lot of women in my life, I don't have that one-on-one vulnerability with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to find my little tribe.
Okay.
And I did.
Oh,
you guys are awesome.
Okay. I'm not going to cry. Hold on. My arthritis is not working. Moving on.
Did you do this one?
I did at first, and then I tried.
Okay, this is the new way, by the way. This is the new way where kids do the heart.
That looks hard.
It is hard.
We sound like a bunch of
arthritis doesn't help me.
It's like this.
My heart is not even
No, let's just go back to this.
It's just fine.
It's fine.
Moving on.
We had a whole episode on this.
Moving on. This arthritis.
I'm Vivian, and I joined Sisterhood because I wanted to find church friends and have sisters that I could talk to, and maybe I can help as well.
When I start, I just want to go bendición.
So I'm Lily, and I joined Sisterhood, specifically Tanya's, because I was in your group. couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. And I enjoy getting to know other women and just developing and cultivating friendships, godlike, women that we have the same, to go on the same journey and all of that. So
like desires and
right.
just,
and that's pretty much it for me.
All right. Okay. Next. You got this, breathe.
Hey everyone, I'm Liz. So I don't know if I would say I joined. I just feel like I'm part of the sisterhood because of Tanya, who invited me to fellowship with these beautiful women. Mm-hmm. I also am trying to get connected with women who are seeking a relationship with God as well, truly seeking and want to grow in their faith. So thank you for joining me.
I love that.
Panel.
Do you notice that every single person here, besides Jeanette, said, I want to find women that, like, more so like exposure, just put ourselves more around women. Is that a problem though, you think, in today's society, to find women that not necessarily have to believe everything you believe, but just kind of walk side by side with you and just talk with you? And I don't know, like, that's been an issue for me, although I know nobody really believes that, because I go to church and I have everybody. I don't break bread with everyone. I'm not very vulnerable, but I'm working on that, because I feel vulnerability does bring preciousness, right? And I'm ready to dive into that. And it's more fear, but why do we do that? Like, why are we so scared to be like, oh, I just want to find other women like me? Is that a difficult thing nowadays? Do you think?
I think it's difficult. I just think that, it is difficult because you just kind of like, are they being that true, authentic self?
Yeah.
Like, I'm bringing my true, authentic self because I'm here, I'm being present. But are they here just because?
Right.
So you're always thinking about the alternative motive of someone else. Yeah. And I think that's our fear, to be vulnerable, even more vulnerable. Like, because I think even just showing up, you're vulnerable. Like, I think that's the first step.
That's good.
And I think
so I'm done.
No, you're not. Don't drop the mic here.
I show up all the time.
But I think that you and I, the way we show our vulnerability is so different. I think and that goes for anybody,
For sure.
But I think the first step is showing up, and I think when you're showing up and you're being your true, authentic self, that's the first step. And whoever doesn't like it, they will wean themselves out.
Right.
I think that when we pray about it, we like, God, please bring people that are good, around me. And I think the sisterhood shows that we are doing that. We're all trying to show up.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, right.
And I think it's the accountability that we just all continue to show up. We're all going to have our days, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
I gotta control the shoulder. I'm gonna put her in a whole neck shoulder brace. She's gonna be like this.
Like this. I just think that I think the first thing of this sisterhood for me was that I showed up, and everybody that showed up with me, I'm taking that first step with them wherever they're at. I'm gonna try to meet them. And I think that's what made me I think I'm always vulnerable. Like, I just pour everything out. But
okay, sometimes I show up, I'm being really honest with you. I show up so much, but I feel like I show up with the same mask. Mm-hmm. I'm not showing you if I'm struggling, if I'm fighting with my husband, aka the sound engineer, audio engineer, or if my mom, I allow some energy to be transferred to me that I should not have allowed, or I still show up and I'm like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. And I don't want that anymore. I want you to see me for who I truly am. And I struggle. And I think all of us need to just talk about that sometimes. You don't have to, like, with a mic and like, I'm struggling. That's not what I'm saying. Even if you find that one person. But I don't know if anybody else here agrees. I always show up, but again, I show up. But am I showing up?
I just want to interject really quick.
No, please.
I think it's important for us to create that space for the people that we care about. We have to see where you're at and see that you need someone to feel safe with, that you can express that vulnerability. If you don't have that confidence with that person, then you'll pull back.
Yeah.
And a lot of women naturally put up that defense because we're not really sure, can I trust this woman? Does she really have my best interest at heart? Is she judging me? But you have to come in a place where you say, I'm going to be open. You have to make that decision to say every time you come in a situation, especially
and not
in a situation like
outcome.
this. Like, I want to be open with these women. I want them to know who I am. You kind of have to read the room a little bit, but then you also have to come in a space where you say, God, work through me. Because in our own working, we'll mess up every time.
Yeah.
But when God is behind you and standing behind you, you're like, Lord, lead me, direct me, because if I do it on my own, I'm going to screw up every single time.
Right.
And that's what people will see, that vulnerability for.
That's greatness. That's great. Great advice.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times we have this, growing up, we didn't trust women just because of our lives and everything that was involved in it.
You think that's cultural?
Yes.
I do. I do. But I also think that our parents were brought up in a season like, for example, my parents, they worked on a farm, growing up. And so then everything was not personable. They're not loving people. And my love language is touch, right? So like, it was very hard. So like, it's very hard for me to trust other women because I don't trust my mother. So
she doesn't watch this, by the way.
It has broken. It has taken a lot for me to get to the point where I trust women and I know that I can be vulnerable to certain women, not to all women. Not everybody needs to know my story. Not everybody needs to know everything.
Agreed.
But I think that certain people, it's okay. And it's okay for you not to be vulnerable with certain people, but for them to be vulnerable with you and that you help them in that situation.
Whatever gift God gave you.
Right.
Use that. And I agree to that. You don't have to be vulnerable with everyone, but are we not vulnerable? And I'm asking myself this question because I'm afraid of the judgment. I'm afraid of the betrayal or the perfect example. I said something to someone, it wasn't bad or anything, but I said something to someone and that person went ahead and said it to this other person. Again, it wasn't bad because what I do try is whatever comes out of my mouth, like not care who's in the room, right? Because we shouldn't be gossiping about each other. But I said something, I was like, man. So that person came to me, he's like, oh yeah, so I heard that. I was like, wait, what? So those little things make me go back, But like you said, we learned that today, I think, when they were talking about Philippians 4:13, when, all things are possible through Christ. We should just go for it. We should just go for it and then see what happens. That's funny that you say that because that message was from the pastor that was there today.
You go for it.
Go for it with faith, and then if he's with you, well, he's gonna be with me. But if it was meant for me, then okay, don't worry about the consequence.
The outcome.
But man, you're right. Like culturally, I'm like afraid of. Yeah, it was always that. Don't trust fulana.
Break that generational curse.
Then you had the gossipers on the block, and you had. A lot of other things happening. But, then you grow up that way. But are we supposed to be that way?
No.
No, not one woman in my life, besides my grandmother, she was a Jehovah's Witness. Church, Bible. I had to buy my mom her first Bible at 71 years old. Well, she's 70 years old. But that wasn't our walk. So should we now change that?
Yes.
Should we now change that? That generational curse of... that's now I don't want to say it's a burden, but I think it's very heavy for us to break that. Right?
Well,
I'm proud that I broke that.
Yeah, you're starting to see that
I'm starting
more.
to see that more like in our generation.
Yes.
Trying to break that cycle, break those chains. And,
Yeah.
start with a clean slate.
Next
and
time
go
we
from
do a
there.
sisterhood, please put all phones on silent.
Sorry.
Thank you. I just want to share. It's
That's
just
my
a little
alarm.
bit.
That's my alarm for my vitamins. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Do you say your large vitamins? You don't want to take it as soon as you wake up in the morning?
No, because I take them at lunchtime.
Oh.
Oh, this is lunchtime. Now we know. Everybody gets
All right, everybody at 12:30. Now we're going to say at 12:30. I love that. I have like a lot of vitamins. I mean, not vitamins. A lot of alarms. I'll set like 3 or 4 in one day. What? Because I'm so busy and I squirrel. You guys know me, and I squirrel. But if it's something I have to remember, I'll set my alarm for that. Yes. I'll say 2 o'clock.
Do you ever forget like what the alarm is for?
No, because I made it.
Put the title on there.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't do that. Yeah. The first alarm is like my wake up. No, I snooze.
No.
We talked about that.
You're a snoozer. I'm not a snoozer.
She's like a jack in the box. She's like, okay, let me do a prayer. 15 minutes.
You're making fun of my 15-minute prayer. That's
no, it's just a long prayer.
I pray for 15. No, sometimes. So I set my alarm for 15 minutes.
You scared my brother-in-law.
Well, he's used to it now.
Now
I would sit up in the bed and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Okay, I'm praying.
And then like you interrupt the prayer, and then you come downstairs and you pray again. You like leave him a message.
About my prayer. Well, I pray throughout the day, but the first 15 minutes before my feet hit the ground, I have to pray.
That's
and
beautiful.
so I wound up praying longer than 15 minutes, and so that's why I set my alarm for 15 minutes. Not that I only give it 15 minutes, it's just to carry on with the rest of my day.
So how do you wrap it up? Like, Papa Dio, we want to go over.
So
I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna hit you up later.
No, I know. I say, he knows.
I'll hit you at 30.
No, he knows. I'm like, I'll talk to you again. But this is help you throughout my day. So my morning prayer is different from my throughout the day prayer.
That's great.
Am I the only one?
No, I do the morning prayer, but it's not. I don't have to put a timer on my 15 minutes.
I'll go longer. You give me a space to sit with him, and it's
you have a lot
to
say.
Yeah,
that you didn't just say a few hours ago when you went to bed.
Remember when I said that I show up a lot? I show up for my friends. I show up for my family a lot. They're included in my prayer.
And
I pray for everybody on this panel. Everybody, what they're going through, what I don't know that they're going through. Sometimes I'm an empath, so sometimes when I see you guys, I go, ooh,
you're heavy.
You're heavy. And I don't mean in weight. You're heavy.
The armor of God is heavy, okay?
It is. Oh, I love that. They said it to me. They were like, man, I haven't lost weight and I gained 10 pounds. Man, the armor of God. Sure I love it. But I can see you guys and I know. Like, I know when things are off. That's not, people say that's a gift. I don't think it's a gift sometimes because I feel it and then I want to fix it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, you're definitely a fixer.
And then I want to, what can I do? Right? So everybody on here I pray for, and I pray for the family. Anybody that I know, I'm praying for the current wars that are happening. So that's why my prayer goes longer than 15 minutes. And I have to time it.
This is great.
So I can do other things.
We're telling our audience that they should have at least 15 minutes. Minimum.
Before your feet touch the ground, you should at least talk to him first.
Jump up. Like Jack in the Box.
Don't hit snooze.
Be like this and just be like, start praying.
You could have 15 minutes if you didn't hit snooze.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it starting tomorrow.
Please feel free to jump in anytime because we do this
all the time.
Yes, all the time. We will continue. We do this on and off the camera. Okay, so sorry. Before we started, Jeanette had a great thing that she wanted to talk about.
Yes.
That I think it's a great subject. So I'm gonna let you talk about it.
Back to almost the same thing I said earlier. As women, we never lifted up other women. We always bashed women or gossiped about women or just in general didn't, because we weren't allies for other women.
Right.
And I
That's
think that has switched. Not only because we're Christian women, but I think in society in general has done a switch. And I see that even at work and other places that we need to uplift other women and champion them, because if we don't champion our own people, like who's going to do that for us?
Yeah,
and as Christian women, we should do that even more so for others.
I agree with you.
We're setting the example.
Yep, I agree with you. Sometimes I get nervous about that because I think culturally, right, we can undo that generational, curses that we could break, but why did we do that? It's like, why do we have to be condescending to each other? Why can't we be there? Why can't I live that champion? Why can't we champion for one another? Why is that? When people walk a certain way, that doesn't mean, oh, I want to walk that way. Or she's walking that way because she thinks that's not it at all. It's just, maybe she's just walking that way because she already went through her season. She already came out of the fire and now she's at the other end of that. You know what I mean? So we don't know that. But why do you think we do that to each other? I don't do that. I side-eye somebody when they're acting wrong, male or female. If you're acting nasty, I'm gonna side-eye you. Or if I don't say anything, I mean, we have a code. if we're either he can kick me under the table,
He does a lot of kicking.
or he goes, ma, like I had to marry my opposite because I'm ready to jump over a table. I can't see injustice, hence my Gemini. I think.
Yeah.
It bothers me. So, besides that, I had to learn that, but I still hear it in my generations above me.
Mm-hmm.
I hear them on the phone, and I hear them, and I go, "That's where that came from."
Yeah.
Right? Have you? Where are you at with that? Where are you at with that too? Because think about it, though. We're talking about your generation, right? We're talking about your generation. You're not like that, but your generation, most of the women were like that, right?
Yeah.
You think they're still like that?
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
You think we
I
can
don't
break
think
that?
you can.
No.
My particular,
Yeah.
thing is, in my case, I don't see any change.
We can't.
I just see it worse.
Yeah, you do. They do say that when people get older, they get more aggressive and
Raising
they
parents
have-
is hard.
Raising parents is hard.
Super hard.
Raising parents is
Yeah.
hard.
They had.
You don't know that. It's hard.
It is hard.
They had like in my case, from what I hear, they had it rough. They had to become adults while they were still children. They were like live-in housekeepers,
Babysitters.
being a child themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if they were older siblings, taking care of the younger ones.
Yes, and they did hard labor. They didn't know anything else, and the way that they were spoken to
And
is what they
treated.
learned.
Yeah.
They
That
didn't
makes
know any
sense to me
better.
though.
Yeah.
That makes 100% sense to me. I don't know if your parents dealt with that at all. Like, how's your relationship with your parents or anybody above this generation?
Let's start over here. Because I don't want to say anything yet.
I'll start. So it's interesting because my mom is one of 11, right? And she's the youngest female. And everybody, like the men in the family, are very loving, very caring. They're the ones that give you a hug and a kiss and mija and whatever. And the women are more like a little standoffish, not huggy lovey. Like it's the complete opposite in that side of the family. But on my dad's side of the family, they all grew up really poor, but they are the most loving, caring, like hug you, kiss you. They look in your face and they want to know what you're doing and how are you doing, and they're cheering you on. And it's I think it's the way their life was affected and why they wanted to change and be different for their children.
Yeah.
So they saw the reason to be different. Yeah. They wanted to break the generational curses.
If they change, because some people you could either change or stay the same.
Right.
And
I mean, it doesn't mean they didn't change in other things, but definitely in that aspect.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. What about you, Mommy? I know recently just lost your dad, so that was tough for you.
It was.
Yeah. But how's your relationship as far as like I'm trying not to disassociate myself, but just to sometimes you need that space to give you room to grow and to change. Are you there as well? Is that why you moved to Florida or?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, I definitely can relate to what Jeanette was saying. And I think honestly it's really a mindset because a lot of the people of our family everyone has a different mindset. So if you're in a direction of you're trying to find Jesus and what would Jesus do, that's the mindset you go into. So every situation you kind of approach, you have that mindset, but they don't. So that's the conflict that you're dealing with.
Right.
And when we were talking about why does that happen, honestly, it's the sin in all of us.
Yeah.
It's the sin in all of us that none of us can escape, but we have Jesus to say, Lord, I know I have an issue with this and I'm working with this and I need you. In each time. So if we come in with that approach, it's easier to deal with them because we can see them for what they are versus what we want to change them to be.
Right.
Because it's impossible for us to change anybody.
Is there anyone in your family and this question for everybody. Is there anyone in your family that they are faith driven? Anybody? No.
I have an uncle who always, since I was very young, used to tell me, Jesus loves you, and I used to be like, Jesus loves me. I'm like, who's this Jesus person? And then it wasn't until honestly, like maybe when I had my children in my 20s that I tried to find a relationship or find a church, and I couldn't quite get anybody to really go with me. I felt like I was alone.
Right.
And it was very hard. That's probably another subject to, talk about on sisterhood. But it's kind of lonely because you really feel alone. You want to connect. And we were talking about, connecting with other people. That's, I think, the reason why we want to connect with other women, because we want someone to be with us on that journey. Yeah. And you don't want to be alone. And sometimes your family is not.
Right.
Sometimes they're the ones that are kind of like, well, why do you want to do that? And, you're kind of going against what you've been taught or what has been in the family for years and years and years. And I did not really go to church growing up. Yeah. That wasn't something that was instilled in me. Yeah. I wasn't in any particular faith, but there was definitely something in myself, the plant that was the seed that was planted to seek him out. And that hunger just kept, surfacing, and he's connecting us all, I think, to these women or these people that you can have an effect on in their life. Yep. And sometimes it won't be your family, but that's okay, because it's like he'll deal with them a different way. Yeah. Maybe someone else will connect them. Me
this way, he's going to deal with them this way.
And I believe, excuse me, I believe it's important. I don't think anything is by chance. Like this situation and us coming together is not by chance. Us, integrating as women of faith is not by chance. I feel like everything is very much, God is involved in it in every way.
No, for sure. That's awesome. For sure. Did you have anybody? Is anybody faith driven or go to church or?
My brother is actually a deacon in the Catholic Church.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So we were raised. He baptized my daughter. He baptized my daughter when she was Valentina when she was like 6 months.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah, it was a very special moment.
Yeah, I think you were around. You grew up Catholic.
Yeah.
You grew up Catholic.
She grew up Catholic.
Catholic.
I grew up Catholic.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, we all grew up.
Oh, okay.
This side of the room. These two. So you want to come over? No, just kidding.
Then he said, no, yeah.
So I grew up. My mom. It's a very similar situation to Jeanette. My mom she's the oldest of 7. So my mom is very like, everybody listens to her. It's my way. They all le siguen la corriente. It's whatever she wants or whatever she says. And growing up, it was kind of not taught, but I felt like if you're asking me questions, it's because you're nosy. Presenta. If you're asking me, I didn't like her because, she's like so...
She's prying.
She's just so nosy. She's so nosy. She's this. But I didn't learn until I was a grown-up, an adult, that I'm like, they just want to get to know me. So, but my mom is still like that. And then my dad, he's somewhere in the middle from 11. And very different, grew up very poor in the farm. And though that family is so humble and so just so nice, and like, that's welcoming, and everybody wants to be around them. And then, my mom's side of the family, they all have their masters and PhDs and all of that. And my dad's family, the women were, I think most of them were teachers. My dad only had like a 8th grade
education,
eighth grade education, because they all worked in the farm. They had to work in the farm.
Oh wow!
So I love that about my dad's family. It's in my mom's. They all have their issues. They all have their.
I mean, we all have our issues, right?
But
I guess when you think about it, like how we were raised, like what they went through, it just translated. And I know, I think almost everyone on here. I think not yourself. You good? You choking on a strawberry?
No, I had a tickle, and I was like trying to
hide it.
But it didn't come out the way I wanted to.
It has translated. I've carried a lot of things I didn't even realize I was carrying. And then going through freedom, I went through freedom twice. The next time we have a freedom thing, I would love for you to do that. I would like for it to be virtual. Although we have a good connection when we're there, there's nothing like it. But I know you also live super, super far. And it's every week, right? For 12 weeks.
Okay, awesome.
It is an unpacking of the soul type thing. You're currently in it now, or are you guys done?
We just finished.
You just finished. And it was so good, I went to it again. Because there's no one and done. You know, you have to unpack stuff.
Yeah.
And if I can do it again, I will. I need to be unpacked.
I have to say though, I went to the Tony Robbins.
I would love to see
Unleashed, and let me tell you something. Freedom plus that. I know. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
Like so impactful. So like just a new life. Like was poured into me. And I mean, with Freedom, it was like more of starting, like scratching the surface. I only did it once. So I scratched the surface, but you have to go through Freedom a few times, I think, because I mean, we're always trying to unpack, you know what I mean? Yeah. And become free of something. But just going to the Tony Robbins thing was just like, I mean, totally life-changing for me. Yeah. Put a lot of things in perspective. I'm not saying that, you know, it's not Christian, like, you know what I mean? But it was just like for your life, you know what I mean? And that plus Freedom, I was like, I was set up.
Be the perfect human being.
Right, so.
You feel empowered. You're like, oh.
Right.
Did you take notes and stuff?
Oh my God.
Okay.
There's like
so our next thing.
Yes.
Talk about
I'll bring the workbook over so you can see all my, my notes and stuff like that. But it was just so empowering to start with Freedom and then come to this event. And like you said, God is in everything. You know, we're meant to be right here. And I am starting to see that the things that I've been through, I needed to go through so that I can be here, but my future is so much brighter, you know, because I do have great people in my circles that I have to go through all those other circles. Moving on.
It's okay to have different circles.
Yeah, but like
there's some circles I don't want to meet other circles. Keep it moving.
But sometimes I learn from you, so I can help in those other circles.
Right. That's right.
Because I am trying to be that leader to help my other circles.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's why a lot of people gravitate to me, just like you, like just because we have that impact to certain people. So I have to go through those things. Yeah. And I'm so happy I did. You know, except, you know,
we're not happy when we're going through it.
No.
But then, like, everybody's saying no.
Or when certain people see us go through it.
Yes.
So we're not happy, but we talked about being content. No matter what the circumstances, that's hard for me. Sometimes I'm instinctively emotional, and then I have to go, okay, he closed this door, but maybe he's opening up another one. Or maybe I have to be tried by fire in this situation so that
I actually walked on fire.
You walked on fire?
Yeah, at the Tony Robbins thing.
You got a pedicure after?
That's another story. We'll talk about that another day.
But did you get burned? No,
I didn't get that, but I had to go through fire. And
like it's fire rocks. Now you got me all
coal. You have to walk through coal, and it's like to let go of all that.
Do you like sign a
symbolism? Yeah, it's a symbolism, like letting go of that hurt, that pain.
Can we pray about it? Do I have to walk on coal?
It's more of like a metaphor of what you went through, and like there's. I'm assuming. I've never been.
It makes sense walking through the fire, and then you feel so much better when you get over there. But it's
a mindset thing.
Scary.
But getting your mindset to think about that was back. That was my old me. I am going forward. I am being positive. I am being focused. I'm a warrior. I'm going.
That is nice.
Don't do like Lot's wife. Don't look back.
Yeah. Don't ever.
Like, whose wife?
I'm not.
Okay.
I said
you only. Okay. You do have to.
It was just last weekend.
Just so you know where you. Yeah. But
just a glimpse.
But when God tells you not to, don't do it.
Well, obviously,
Jesus
but then I think also going through freedom. So I'm still.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
No. Share.
But going through freedom, it definitely unpacks all that trauma that you have endured and you have experienced and that you're still carrying for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And that affects with everything, with your relationship, with any relationship, your relationship with yourself, with your parents, with your kids. And I think because of us, like how we are, it affects that women connection that we have, because it's like, you're not going through what I'm going through. You don't know, so keep it moving.
Or stop crying.
Like, don't try, because you know what? Like, you don't know what I went through, so. But then on the flip side, you do speak to these women, and then you're like, oh, she's like me. Like, she did go through this. Like, she's 40 plus, and I'm only this. And you know what?
Did she point at me at 40 plus?
No, she pointed at me.
I said, I had something in my eye, like, she said 40 plus. I was like, I felt it. I was like, wait, did that hit me in my eye?
I did the double. I was like, did she do the what?
No, but I just feel like we do, through these community groups, through Sisterhood, through the church, through my encounters with other people, we are more similar than we actually think.
Right.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
No, and I love
but it's true.
I love that you said that, because I don't have to go through what you're going through.
Right, to be empathetic.
To be empathetic, sympathetic, or say, okay, have you thought about maybe looking at it through this lens? You know what I mean? So I'm proud of you for that, because each one of us here have gone through something so different. We may still be going through it. Some of us go through it for a short period of time. Some of us go through a long period of time. But it doesn't matter, like, if we're not all similar. Like, not everybody on this panel can say we went through the same thing, but I can still learn. I learned from younger. I learned from my children. Yeah. There was one episode where I had my daughter on there, and I was just like, what?
I took notes.
Wow.
Listen,
it was like
my daughter humbles me every day. So
it's like, you know, she's like, sometimes you gotta meet people where they're at, Mom, and sometimes
not where you're at.
And I was like, dang,
humbling.
It was very humbling. So you can learn all the time, and they don't have to go through. And obviously, she didn't go through half of what I've gone through.
And even if you went through that, everybody handles it differently.
Right.
Yes.
So I think it's like what you take from it.
Yes.
Like, I can tell you about my situation, or, you know, the stories that I've been through. Sometimes I'm even shocked at myself of the stories that I've been through and stuff like that. But the reason I tell anybody my story is because they can do whatever they want with that information. I'm not going to say, this is how I did it, you should do it like this.
Right.
I will never say that, because, to be honest, I don't think that's my job.
Right.
My job and what I feel that God has told me is to share my story.
Right.
Because it's going to help someone else, how they handle it going forward. Not to say, like, I did it right or I did it wrong. I mean, there's a lot of wrong in my doings, but, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to say,
you're a good person.
I'm a new person. I went through the fire.
No, but what Jeanette was saying, like, when sometimes we say things to each other, but we're afraid of, like, the judgment. It's what you say. Because I can have my opinion. I talk to Maria. I talk to everybody on this panel about how I feel. And then I still love them no matter if I agree or disagree. Like, that's not for me to do. But sometimes people don't want to feel attacked. You know what I mean? People don't welcome, like, criticism. Huge, heady. Well, it depends how you. It's not necessarily criticism. It could just be how they feel.
Yeah, because they feel like they're being criticized or something.
But just because it's different from how you feel, it's taken as criticism. But if it's done the right way, when I say polished, if you think, you know, not like trying to cover the sky with one hand, like my mom used to tell me. I don't sugarcoat anything, she says. It's like, it's not a matter of sugarcoating. It's a matter of, if you want me to hear you and you want me to still love you and still talk with you, it's how you say certain things. It's not
delivery.
It's the delivery,
But
right?
Go ahead.
Go.
You go. No, you go.
At the same time, it doesn't matter whether you delivered it the most lovely way or the harshest way. Is that person going to be receptive to receiving that? Because you could say misa,
whatever,
like whatever you want to say,
sure.
and then they're like, oh yeah, but I'm still going to do this because this is what I'm going to do, and I'm whatever, like
100%.
So
it's 100%. And but you know, in the Bible it talks about us correcting lovingly. It just talk about, keeping your family, and it does talk about women. We are the delegates of our home. And I'm not discrediting men for that, but it talks about us saying, hey, listen, I love you enough to tell you this.
Right.
Whether you're ready to receive it or not.
When you hear a message from God, it's like we're all going to the same service and we're all hearing the words, but it also infiltrates our hearts differently because we all need something differently. And I agree too with what you were saying. It's like sometimes the delivery, regardless of how you say it, you can say, I'll give you an example. I love you. Or I love you. I'm saying the same thing, but which one are you going to receive?
Right.
So it's like seasoning it with salt, you know. That's one of the things I've actually dealt with many years in my marriage. It's like, it didn't matter how I said it. I can say it this way or that way, and you still didn't receive it. But later to find out, I heard everything you said. I thought you did it, but you heard everything. So just to tackle on that, it's really important to really give it 1,000% when you're trying to deliver something to someone.
We need to be better listeners. Sorry. Because we all have the tendency to be ready to speak and not to really hear what people are saying, absorb it, and then give a message back. If we even need to. Sometimes you just need to turn around and hug somebody because that's what they need in that moment. But we always are listening. We always hear to speak and not to hear and absorb and then answer.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. That's tough. Go ahead, mommy.
Just going back to that, but then you can't get upset whether you say, I love you, or, yeah, I love you. Like, you can't get upset whether they received it or not. Because then, because that's, even though it came from where, like, whether it was good or bad, like, you can't get upset at that person for not receiving it the way that it was supposed to be received.
It's a failed expectation.
I think that's situational. I feel like it's situational. I feel like if I tell my husband, this hurts me when you do this. This really makes me feel blah, 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 blah. And if he doesn't receive it, I'm going to feel some kind of way. Because then I feel that you're not listening to me and you don't love me enough to hear me. But if I talk to one of you guys and I say, hey, so this is just my opinion. I give her my opinions all the time.
Oh.
And I'll say, hey, sis, so I love you, but this is so-and-so, so-and-so, this is how I feel. She still does what she wants to do. She still does her thing.
Bad time to sip on something.
But I don't not love her. But I can say my relationship with him is I did what you wanted me to do. I talked to her and I love her, and this is what I'm saying. So what matters to me as much as I love you guys is my relationship with him. I'm not gonna upset him because I'm afraid of upsetting you. Right. It's not, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I go, okay, I did it.
Because if it's a true friendship and it's a true like feeling, then it's that person will end up drifting off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because
there's somebody's heart posture.
You got to. Right. Like, so
our
the thing is, even when we have our conversations and we have heartfelt, even strong conversations, where I still feel loved and I still feel respected, and I think she feels the same way for me. Like, I will never disrespect, because I know it's good intention, but it took a long time to get here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though my friendship with her is over 12 years, like, some people don't have that, right? But I'm happy that I got it now, right? Because like I said, I'm happy that I had to go through a lot of friendships to know what a true friendship was. But that the fact that me and her both go in the path that we want to have God first, I think that even helps us even to be even better people for each other and for everyone else around us.
Yeah.
So that is very, very important. But I get what you're saying. You know, like, don't get upset.
I think it's situational.
But I think it's also like it's a failed expectation because we expect that other person to understand because that's how we would take it.
Listen to you.
Right.
And then do
if
it.
that was the opposite side. But to be honest, everybody does things differently.
Yeah, for sure.
They receive information differently. Just like we said, if we hear the word, we're all going to relate to it differently, right? So I think it is situational because of how the delivery is or the words that come out.
Who you're saying it to.
Or who
When you
you're
talk to
saying
your
it to.
kids, I expect for them to listen. Well, they're adults now. But
But you still expect.
I sort of kind of do, but now my expectations are a little less. It's like, okay.
But we also have friends that are, or people that we know that are walking a Christian walk. They're faithful, but when we talk to them about something that they might have said to us in a certain way because they're a little harsh and just like, you know, just la la la, right? And so like they're always on the defense, and why? Because they're on the defense. It comes out a certain way, and you know they're on the defense, so it makes you feel a certain way when you receive from them.
100%.
Like, is she attacking me? Is he attacking me?
Yeah.
Like what's going
Is
on?
this the devil? Like, did the devil get her? You know,
But we also have to figure out like certain people are just that way, and like they always want to have the last word. They want to know that the word that they say is the best word, or the way that they see it is the best way.
Right.
And sometimes you just have to.
Yeah. I've apologized to her before a few times of saying, I'm sorry that I came out so strong. Because when you start caring for somebody, you get mad, like, don't be talking to her like that, and then I'm like, so I do that.
She yelled at her nephew. That's what she's talking about.
The what?
When you did it to your nephew.
Oh, that too. Yes. I get frustrated, but then I go, okay, I can't do that. I have to be opposite and just polish it a little bit more. But she knew where my heart was coming from. I was getting defensive. It's like, no. Because when, someone tries to harm your children, tries to harm your spot, whatever, harm can be physical, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and I get upset. Like when I have my tribe, I have a tribe. Don't mess with my tribe, right? So I get it. No puedo. That was so racist.
No,
Cut that out.
no, I was like, it's Thanksgiving time.
No.
Oh, Dios mío. Didn't you say you were a new person?
I thought it was
Just
Get the fire out.
I didn't go to the fire again.
That's like celebrating Columbus Day. No.
We had off. I know you enjoyed it. Did you? No.
I did not. I don't work for a
I'm just
company who
messing.
gives that day off. And besides, it's Native American Day.
It is indigenous
People Day.
Indigenous people. Yes.
No, I know. I was just thinking tribe. Like,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I just
no más.
Hey, yeah. Cut it out. Well, what was
I
it?
remember the Full House.
Yes, good
Yeah.
No?
Okay.
All right. I can try.
Arthritis. It had to stop.
It's
So,
okay. It's
okay.
all right. We
It's
love
okay.
you. We love you.
Yeah, anyway, I'm just trying.
No, but I do. I can see that. And it's not easy. But when, and you guys chime in, I'm not going to pick anyone. When did you guys realize, like, was there a turning point for you or something that happened where you say, okay, I have to dig deep in my faith. Like, I have to stop playing games. I have to stop messing around, because if I casually pray, then I'm casually going to get blessed, right? So when did you receive that Jesus tug, I call it?
COVID.
COVID?
Really?
Because church was closed, and so you were looking for that connection.
Okay.
And hope was that connection for me.
Okay.
I would say the same thing around the same area. A lot of things happened.
Yeah.
Obviously in the world and in my
your world.
world.
Yeah.
And that's when I found hope, and that's why I'm here. Like, there's so many things.
Connections, like she said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Not by
whole
chance.
fact that, like, I would say it's grown deeper this past year for me as well.
Okay.
Like, but definitely COVID was, you
Okay.
need that.
Yeah.
Go.
I love that.
How about you?
For me, it was the first day I walked into Hope. I was raised Catholic my entire life. So my church that I would go to, it wasn't very like huggy lovey, like you don't walk in and people are like, hey. No, so walking into Hope for the first time was a little freaky.
Got scared?
Yes, I was like,
entrometida, what is she gonna ask me?
and it was right after COVID, so I was like, people hugging people.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
You know, but everyone was so welcoming, and it was so weird for me. Like, I remember calling my mom, like, I went to this church, but everybody loved each other. Like, everybody's so friendly. I was like, people hugging me, I don't even know them. But sitting in Pastor West's sermon that day, it was just really, it was an overwhelming warmth in my heart that it was more like,
you knew, like,
what's happening right now, you know? And
the same way.
And it was just like, I belong here. And for years, I've been in Orlando for 10 years. My mom, every chance she talks to me, you need to find a church. Yep. I'm on top of that, Rose. Sure. No.
See, she wasn't ready to see, but eventually.
Yeah, there was nothing.
Like, that's the germinating thing.
Yes.
There was nothing in me that wanted to search for a church. Right. Nothing. I was like, I'm good. Yeah. I talk to Papa Dios every day. I prayed for my kids. I prayed for my family. Yeah. We're good. Yeah. I don't need to walk into a building. No.
Church is wherever you put it, right?
Right.
Church is in your heart.
Everywhere I go.
Right.
You know, and like just walking into that church for the first time, and like when I walked out, I remember looking back and I was like, is this it?
This a YMCA?
Like, this is it for me.
Did I get to the right place?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I went the following Sunday, and it's almost been 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So
and
that makes you that made you want to dig deep into your faith.
Absolutely.
And you start looking at things completely different.
Because I saw different people. Like, people were just so different.
Community.
They were all about community.
And they were online. They were the only people that were online Monday through Friday. 7 a.m. I think it was, or 6:30. They were on every day, giving the word, talking, and then community groups.
Yep.
And this is all online while everything is shut down. They're going to a church to go schedule the preaching for the day of Sunday, and then they would show it. Like, they were out there. They were doing it.
They were. I mean, COVID stopped a lot, but it should never stop the word. Right.
It made hope grow.
I agree. I agree with that. I church hopped by myself for a while, and you're right. As soon as I walked into Hope, it was like, this is for me.
It was different.
It was just so different. It was. It was, but I wouldn't say that was my turning point. I think for me, the turning point was before that. As I got closer to some family members and friends, and it was almost like suffocating. I realized it was so toxic for me. It was like you literally sucking my energy, and I was like, okay, I can't do this, and I needed something. And I was into the Joel Osteen books, and I was doing all those different things that are more. I mean, he talks about God, but it was more just self-empowering. I mean, not just commercial, but more self-empowering. Just things to do differently in your life. But from I started digging deeper before that. But yeah, with COVID, it amplified it. But I would say my walk started before. I think my walk started before, because that's before COVID. Because when I invited you was
in 2019.
Okay, so it was before COVID. Okay.
Yeah, you went, and then I went through my journey, which you guys all know pretty much my journey of going through a divorce. Well, separation. It was at that time. It was like the separation and trying to figure out am I supposed to stay?
The separation.
Should I stay in this situation? Should I leave this situation? I was torn. Because of my kids, and just am I supposed to be doing the right thing? Because I did get married in the church, so I'm like,
and then oh my God, wait, I did all that, and to walk away from all the effort I gave and all the love I gave,
I built it. No, just kidding. I thought I was at that time. I'm saying that was before.
That was pretty Tony Robbins.
That was before. That was not before. And so I was going through all these really, really I was going into a pit. I was about to hit the pit, and I called them one night, it was like 10 o'clock, and I went to their house, and I was just like...
I did a Jeanette. I didn't cry. I was like...
No. And only O was like trying to be on my side, and then he's like, "Oh, that's all right." She's like, "No, she needs to go to the church tomorrow with me." And he was like, "If she doesn't want to go, it's okay." And she was like, "No, you're gonna go tomorrow." Well, I ended up going, almost sneaking out of my house. It was like the weirdest thing, because I didn't want anybody to stop me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and he would have,
he
would have been like, "No, stay in bed. You know, like I'll make you coffee," and manipulation.
The carrot.
Yeah, the carrot. And so I didn't want anybody to stop me. So I got up super early. I got in my car, and like it was like the most weirdest thing. Like I was like, I'm sneaking out to go to church. Like who does this? You know what I mean? And so I remember just getting there, and like you're right.
You felt
as
it
soon
immediately,
as I came, she wasn't like, I think she was outside, but like she was like far, and I'm like walking. They're like, "Hey, hi, welcome. Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Is this real? No, this is not
But
Wizard of Oz."
they,
Like, I'm like, what is going on?
No, but they did it. They do it genuinely. They don't. It's not like
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Like at first, I was like, "Come on, like that's
That
crazy." What she probably told them,
no.
my friend is coming, and
What?
you know, like
That's how it sounds to you?
No, I was just
My friend is coming.
It was like the Wizard of Oz,
No.
you know. So I see her, and she was like, "I'm so happy you really came."
And I told you this. I didn't
Yeah.
think you were gonna show up.
I know.
And I said that. I was like,
Yeah.
she's not gonna show up. I thought that because when you pour into someone and pour into them, you tell them the same thing over and over again. Like these friends that she talked about, I saw. We lived in the same apartment building, 2 different hallways, and I saw her from far away. I'm like, I was that friend that I'm gonna tell you how I feel out of love, but I'm not gonna tell you what you want to hear. I'm not gonna do that. So these friends, she was hanging out with them, and I from far away, I saw her just, okay, that's her. That's she's gonna have to go through that and figure it out. So honestly, I was always constantly trying to talk and say certain things, and she never really listened. So when I told her
To go to church,
you
it was
just, you just have to go to church, because no matter what I tell you and what
you need it.
I can't. It's out of my hands now. Like I don't have the power. I don't have to help.
Yeah.
I don't have it anymore.
That was it.
Yeah.
I went to Hope Church that day.
She showed up. I was like, oh, swollen.
I was swollen
from crying. From the crying. Yeah.
I was like,
It was almost like she never stopped crying.
yeah. And then I got there, and it was like the songs, the sermon,
Everything
the
hit you.
people who I didn't know were going like this, praying on me. I said, I love all of you guys. Thank you. I felt the Holy Spirit. Like I really did. Like and I get a little teary eyed right now because it was like I remember that moment.
Yeah.
That was my turning moment.
It was. Yeah.
And
Oh.
I said I wasn't gonna cry.
You want a tissue?
No. I'm fine. I went through cold. But
Did you cry?
No. I was like, ooh,
Let's go.
like it was great. Okay, great. I love how you did that. Okay, so it was just like everybody just poured into me, and even as they were passing by, they saw me crying, and they were just like, we don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. You don't even have to say anything, but we love you. And I was like, y'all don't even know me, but they saw me.
Yes.
And being seen is the most important thing that I think God has put in all of us.
Amen.
To see someone and just be like, I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen.
That was it. Hands down. No, I hardly missed. I think I missed more in the last year because of work and stuff like that. But there was one time that Pastor West said, I see her more than Tanya. But I
don't know if that's true, but it's fine.
It was at that time. At that time. But then it was like I got involved. And I was like, I wanted to. And Jenny, who I adore, okay, she saved me. She saved me.
She saved me.
Yeah.
She did.
She felt me. She felt me one day, and she said, there's one time that Pastor says, if you ever said this prayer for the first time, and so I raised my hand, and of course he says, everybody, close your eyes, don't look. Sometimes I'll be like, I want to see. Who is it? Right? So I raised my hand, and towards the end, Jenny grabbed me. She's like, I want to pray for you and I want to save you. And I said, woo, cry.
Yeah.
Woo, woo,
Yeah.
woo.
Yeah.
But she's just a beautiful soul. And just because she did that for me, she didn't know me.
Yeah.
She did not know me, but she wanted to make sure that I got saved.
You met Jenny. I think you came here. Want a tissue, mummies?
No, I'm fine. No, we're fine. We're fine. So the whole story of my story, my turning point was that, you know, having just great people. I'd never been to a church. Like, I was raised, you know, Catholic as well. I got married in a Catholic church when I renewed my vows because I wanted to be part of that community. But even being part of that community, I didn't feel welcome the way I feel welcomed here. So that just made my life just change. And I mean, I started to be part of a community and meet strangers and be vulnerable.
Then they become family.
They become family, right? And so I'm like, I'm hanging out with my church people. Like, this is my family. You know what I mean? And I love it. You know, so like, I just love hanging out with you guys. And it doesn't, I love that I can be myself.
Yeah.
My genuine self. So everybody knows I'm a little crazy, you know, obviously. But
a little.
Yeah. A little lost. You know, I'm a little crooked. But I'm trying to get straight.
We're all crooked. We're all crooked.
We're all crooked in our own ways and stuff. But I love the genuine person that I can be and still be accepted and no judgment. And then people can give me advice and I can be receptive. So I've learned to listen and not be defensive.
Right.
But I have to go through this journey to be and know that the people who are giving me advice truly mean it and truly want the best for me.
And we're
and
all
for my
gonna
family.
fall. We're all gonna fall back a little.
Yeah.
We're gonna take a couple steps back, but we need those people to give us a little nudge forward again. Hey, sis, that's not who you are. Stay here, but don't unpack.
Right.
We'll move forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And then when my kids started to come to church, and they love to come to church, and they like hanging out, and they're like, yeah, you got church? All right, cool, mom. Like, I'm like, oh, I have a sisterhood. They're like, go. Make sure you go. Because I was like, there was one time I was like, I don't want to go. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And then my sons were like, Mom, go. My oldest, he was like, Mom, you better go. I'm like, do you want me at the house?
They know what we needed.
Yeah.
They know.
Exactly.
They know what we need.
Exactly.
Because
So
we come back different.
Yeah.
we do. We do. So I just, that was my turning point, and I'm happy that I'm here. But go ahead. Sorry.
So we're going to go on this side.
Yes.
And anybody that wants to share their turning point, their testimony, anything? Baby's like, don't be
Well, I was also raised in the Catholic and in the Catholic Church, and for me, I wanted Valentina to have a different experience. They don't have like the kids ministry or anything like that. So I literally Googled, what was it? Church for Kids, and Hope came up, and so that's how we ended up there. And unbeknownst to me, it helped me more than I ever knew.
Right.
I thought it was just going to be the same, you know, as the Catholic, which was fine. I just wanted my daughter to have a different, you know, a different experience.
You wanted her to be seen as well.
Yeah, exactly. She, you know, she wouldn't understand sitting in for the whole mass and all of that. So
Nothing
I'm
against
really happy.
Catholics, but sitting up, getting up, sitting down. My knees were hurting.
He doesn't understand that.
Like,
you
why
know,
do you
yeah.
guys do that? Okay, so we'll look into that.
So for
Next episode.
Germinating and why we get up so much.
for the next episode.
Yeah.
So it's helped us out a lot, and I think the turning point for me was 21 days of prayer, the very first one. That really did it for me. I was like, okay, so God spoke to me. Marcus and I had been together for years, but we weren't married, and so I was like, okay, I guess we're getting married.
But is that something you felt?
Yeah,
you felt
yeah.
that.
I
It
wanted
wasn't
to
like,
do
yeah.
things right.
She was
I wanted to do like,
Yeah.
So Wes married us, and so we're just we try to be as involved as we can. And Marcus plays sometimes, in worship in the band, and we're not perfect. I want to, you know, but.
We're all far from it.
But I think the turning point for me was that very first 21 days of prayer.
That's
That
I
was
didn't know what
huge,
to expect, but it definitely changed. It changed me, and it changed
the fact
my
that you did it.
home.
Right.
It changed our marriage. Like a different perspective. Like I saw.
Oh yeah,
Different lens.
First time I met you was 21 Days of Prayer. Yeah.
21 days. Well, before that, when we came from Miami, I was looking for a church. So I was Googling and Hope Church kept popping up, but I was looking for the kids' church for my granddaughter. And then the youth group starts at 6:00 and I'm going like, no, that's not going to happen. So I keep looking, but it keeps coming back to Hope Church. Then my granddaughter goes, Grandma, when are we going to church? I want to go to church. So I said, okay, I'm going to go. My kids always say you go first. So I went by myself. And as soon as I walked in, everybody was friendly. The service was wonderful. The song, because I asked God to give me my sign, is they sang my song, which is Waymaker.
Oh, I love that song.
And they sang that song, and I'm going like, okay. When I was leaving, I saw Pastor West helping with the chairs. And he looked at me and I said, great sermon. And he said, thank you. And I left. Following week, I come with my little tribe. And he goes, oh, I remember you. And I'm like, okay. I said, this is my daughter and this is my granddaughter. I came last week and I enjoyed your sermon. So they came to see who you were. When he started talking in his sermon, he said, people sometimes come to see what we're like. And there's a lady with her family here, and my daughter and I are looking at each other because you know that it's us, that came to check us out, and now they're here. And then he kept on talking, but it was like, okay.
He acknowledged
that. And
we're going to go a little over.
We haven't skipped a beat on that, but the 21 day of prayer, when I came, was unexpected, and the things that happened, I cried like a baby. And this lady here was one that put her hands on me and I just couldn't stop. But that changed me in a big way. And when I went to Freedom was another big turning point.
That's right.
So I'm very grateful for Hope and for the family that I've built in it. I'm all grateful to all of you.
We love you,
Vivian. Okay, no crying.
Go ahead.
Yes. Want to cry again?
Unless it's Chanel.
Jeez.
No pressure.
Lord. So me in particular, my turning point was many, many years ago when my kids started going to youth group. I also was kind of sort of maybe raised in the Catholic Church too. Didn't know anything about it. Never felt a relationship with God. I didn't know who Jesus was. It wasn't until I moved to Florida. I moved here in 2005. My kids were 9, 5, and 1. And I went to a non-denominational church. And I also myself was looking for a church. I was looking for a home. And just looking for answers. And it wasn't, again, until my kids got involved in a youth group. And then I was on fire for God. And went with them to wherever they went, where the church was going for the kids, and I was excited and I was happy, and they kind of strayed away, and that's when my heart is really heavy because my children are all going through their own things. They're living their lives, as we talked about, what they decide and what they choose. We can't force anybody to love and serve God. It's a calling. It's something that God speaks to us directly, and we have to answer. We can either choose to say yes or no, just to follow or not. So that's one of the things for me personally that I struggle with, because I see my kids in the directions that they go. They're all doing well, but I don't believe that their relationship with God is where I would love it to be. Right. But I do continuously pray for them, because I don't have any control over that. And that's something that I had to release and give to him. Yes. The only thing I can do is work on my walk. Right. And I guess I'm going to be that example. I'm going to be that person that they're going to look at me. Yes. Because it's not about what we say, it's about what we do and how we walk. Right. And
maybe them going to youth group was to get you where you needed to be, because God already knew that they were not going to stay in that path. But nothing like a mother's prayer for her children. Yeah. When we cover our kids in prayer, I mean, obviously, Papa Dios, but when we cover our kids in prayer, right, and you wouldn't do that if you were not in this situation,
Right.
if you weren't on fire for Papa Dios. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So maybe them going to youth group was just a way, it was just an avenue for you. My mom's coming in through the door. It's great. Sorry for the interruption. Yes. And so what I was saying was, I know that with them going to youth, it was more driving you and saying, come, Liz, this is where you need to be for these situations right now. And not just for your kids, for us, for friends, for your, just for yourself, and to prepare you for what you just went through.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that makes sense. And then Jeanette also said that she was saved. She's just started going to youth, your daughter?
So she started going to Orlando Christian Prep and then going to church, and then she got saved, and then she brought us into the church, and then Ashley did. And then Samantha went 6th grade, and then she got saved, and then we all decided to get baptized as a family.
That's awesome.
But they're on 2 different paths, and so you know,
Happens.
it does, and I just pray that, you know, they're always covered.
Yeah, always. Like I said, it's not like a mom's prayer. Ooh, we go in, you know.
Yeah.
But perfect example too. I was saying Ashley's much younger, and she's in our community group, What Women Saw, and man, she's so wise. I'm like this.
She humbles me every day.
She
like
is
to
so
my knees,
wise with the Bible, with the word.
Yes.
She'll text me, okay, read Matthew. Like, she is amazing. And she's much younger, so you can learn from anybody.
She's 30, yeah.
Yeah, you can learn from anybody. But this is tough because, you know, we have to be raw in ourselves, and in our community group, I was a little upset. Not upset, but I felt a little spicy when I was like, you know, our community group is called What Women Saw. And Jesus looked to us for ministry, and he respected us. And I got frustrated. I was like, when did we become inferior? When did we become inferior in the eyes of man? Why were we mistreated? Why couldn't we vote? Why were we getting paid less? Like, if Jesus respected us and he put us in positions of ministry, why did man think it was okay to treat us inferior? And then
Pastor Chris sent us I sent him a text, and then he responded back to us.
I was mad.
Well, most of us were, but the thing that he said, because like I asked him, I said, hey, good morning, Pastor Chris. I wanted to pick your brain a little bit. I'm doing a community group on What the Women Saw, and yesterday we spoke about Mary Magdalene and how it came up in our conversation of when and where or how or why is it that women are not to preach or speak in church according to the Bible? Did that happen in the Garden of Eden, or was it something that God always had set up that way? I'd like to give my group some answers, but really have none that we can pinpoint.
Right.
We all have different opinions about it, so I thought, why not go to the best Bible scholar I know?
Yeah.
And then he wrote back and said, keep in mind, every verse in the Bible is framed with particular context, historical, cultural, etc. In the case of the verses that you're speaking of, 1 Corinthians 14:34 and 35, it was a letter written to a specific church that was completely out of order. Their gatherings had become something more of what it was supposed to be about: apostles' teaching, prayer, fellowship, Lord's Supper. Spiritual gifts were being used for selfish personal reasons. Apparently, some of the women in the church became unruly, undignified, and were causing distractions. Thus, Paul's instructions in all of chapter 14 was to reestablish order in the services. One thing is true, he did not mean for it to be translated to all women being silent and submissive in all places at all times, in all caps.
Yeah.
He used women in various roles and positions in ministry and other churches. This is a lesson about order in church, not gender superiority. Women are absolutely permitted to preach, sing, teach, and lead in churches as they should.
But this leads me to, man made us inferior, and we fell into that when we're not empowering each other, and we're being catty with each other, and we're, you know what I mean? So we almost adopted that mentality, but that wasn't Jesus's mentality, right? And so that's why I love the sisterhood, because it's like, yeah, I get exhausted sometimes, you know, with juggling life and this, but I was like, there's no way, because we have to come together.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if Jesus put us in these positions of ministry, and he loved us and he believed in us, man changed that for us, and we allowed it to change because then we started doing it to each other. And that's what I don't want, so leading back to what we talked about, why do we do that to each other? Why can't we empower each other, champion for each other? And that's where I kind of want to continue this, and I want to. And obviously everybody here has my number. We communicate, we text, but we need to do things more for each other and helping each other. I really do feel that. Like, Maria has a business. I tell everybody about her business. I want her to grow and I want her to do her thing. You know what I mean? Vivian cooks great. I'm like, ooh, do you guys want some of this? Because Vivian does it really good. Like, you have to do that for each other. Because sometimes we are our own worst critic, and we were like,
sometimes, all the time.
Yeah, right. And we showed that when we saw ourselves up there. But now I go, I don't care what we look like. It's what we said, and it's how we feel.
It's the message.
It's the message.
So
Sure.
I probably do want to close up a little bit, but does anybody want to say anything, talk about anything, anything that you've learned in this sisterhood season, or anything you want to see happen in the next sisterhood season?
Well, you know me. I always say something.
Oh, yeah. Love. Yeah. You think we need more love?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, are we lacking in love? Okay.
No, more of it.
More of it. No, for sure.
More sharing and caring and loving each other.
Yeah. More loving each other. I love that.
I always
Speak
pray.
to the mic, girl. Speak to the mic.
In my community group, every time that we closed, and they were like, "Is there any prayer requests?" And I always say that we all have love and peace in our hearts.
Yes.
Because we live in a really different world.
Yes. Yeah.
And if we come with love and peace, then maybe we could be a little bit better.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
I agree with that. I think we lose ourselves sometimes in what we're going through. We lose our sense of reality. And my sense of reality is completely different from yours, But you're right. If our moral compass is pointed in the right direction, and we work hard on our heart posture, we will fall. That would be a great start, because we can't control the world, but we can control here, and then ultimately I can do this, and then you can do that. Do you see what I'm saying? And so it goes on and on and on. So I think that that's something that we need to do for sure. I agree with you, Natalie, 100%.
I think it's how we do it from now. Like, we can't change the past. It's what we do now moving forward.
Right.
Yeah.
And if we're changing ourselves and having love and peace and community. And
Community is huge.
It's important to do it as of now and how we do it going forward. If this is how we're gonna change the world, we have to start now.
And I'd like to touch on that too. Like, I know I'm kind of out there. I live in Deltona, but I'm not shy to drive. I obviously I go to a different church because I live on a different side of town. But I also do want to get involved more. Whatever. Don't feel like, I don't want to invite Lynette
I
because
know.
she's
I'm
already
like,
out there.
I know. I do feel bad.
Don't feel that way, because
Don't worry, she feels
I
bad
feel-
for me, and I just live 25 minutes
Yeah,
away.
I know. I'm like, that's why I did dinner in Winter
If you
Park.
ask and say, hey, if you're interested, let me know if you can
Okay.
do this.
Okay.
Because I would like to get
don't wanna
into
miss
a
out.
fellowship. No, and I would like to get a little more deeper with the women on the panel, because I don't really know everybody and they don't really know me.
Yeah.
So I can't do that if I'm not involved. Not to say
No,
you
you're
don't
right.
involve me,
No.
but
You're right.
give me that option, because
Okay,
I
I
may
will.
be able to contribute, and then I can also kind of bring people in, because I do have a church group but there's a different connection here that I believe is
Yeah.
going to be beneficial. So,
We do. I love that we're there's so many. We're all so different. I love that. I love that. When I look at different people's faces, I go, okay, they went through this or they went through that, and we're still here. Like, Hope created this foundation, this home for us. That no matter where you're coming from, and I mean that metaphorically, and also literally physically where you drive from.
Right.
But no matter where you came from,
Yeah.
that's your home.
But not only join a sisterhood, join a community group too. If you
we have some that are virtual. The women's
I do a virtual one every time just because it's so much easier. Because I live on the east side of Orlando, and I know not everybody's going to come to my side, so I just do it virtually. But join a community group. You get to know a whole different group of people through community group. That's how I met Tanya, through community group. And I mean, if we would have been sitting next to each other, Pastora would have totally separated us. You sit on this side, you sit on this side, because it was that instant, like the connection.
Yeah, it was.
But join a community group if you can, because I'm telling you, it makes a difference. And you meet people.
I have one. I'm just saying, like, I'm okay because I'm in a position where I can split my time.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have any young children anymore.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to involve myself.
Oh, that does good. Yeah.
Yes, it does.
I did my time.
Being an empty
You still have a
nester is
6-year-old.
good.
You have to chauffeur.
Yeah, my youngest is late teens. So
Yeah, she starts the chauffeur.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean by young.
She's 6 years old.
I mean, 16.
16. Oh, 16.
Yeah.
That makes a difference.
She was like, oh, you had a baby. You were really in up with your shoulders 6 years ago.
No. It's been a long time of shifting shoulders. But okay, moving on. Well, I guess we have to close out.
Yes, so shout out to all the women here. Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys so much for helping us do this.
I know it's comfortable, but you guys are so good. Maria, you didn't talk half as much.
I talked though. I did.
Oh, the sexy boy. I did. She said, okay. That's all I did.
You did what?
I talk with my hands. You do talk with your hands all the time.
That's why she has beautiful nails.
That's right.
I know. That must be. Is that hard for you? Like when you're doing? And I know we have to close out. I'm sorry. When you do people's hair, they just word vomit. But do you ever want to? I mean, you talk here, but is that like the norm?
Certain people.
I think in my job, yes, it's very. Certain people, you kind of just have to feed off their vibes. Some people just want to sit and be quiet and enjoy their zen, and I have to feed off of that. Some people just want to be heard, and I'm here to listen. I don't really give my opinion unless I know that you want it.
Okay.
Because some people, they just want to hear themselves.
Gotcha.
And sometimes it's what they need. Because there's been a lot of times where a client will be just word vomiting and speaking out loud, and they'll have their own clarity moment. Like,
sometimes when you say things out loud, you'll be like, "Oh, that did not sound good out loud."
Yeah.
That means that does not make sense. Yeah, I've said that.
So I remember a couple months ago, Pastor West pointed me out and was like, "You need to use your platform." And it didn't make sense. When he said it, I was like, "My platform, okay, whatever."
You can minister at that moment.
Right.
Yeah. Ministering doesn't mean always on a stage.
And I work every Sunday after church. So when I got to work that Sunday, the clients that I had that day, my emotions were all over the place. But I realized I kept hearing his voice, like, use your platform, use your platform. And that's when I realized, this is what he's talking about. Like, I not only have to be a listener, but I also
have to
be involved.
That is true.
I mean, we're supposed to.
Yeah.
You know,
lovingly.
And we learned that today.
Yes.
It's not how we say it. It's not what we say, it's how we say it. You know?
Yeah.
Read the room.
Read the room.
Ooh, that's a lost art. Read the room.
You know.
That's another topic.
That's another hour episode, right? Like, so, but I just want to say thank you guys so much for letting me be, you know, vulnerable. Shimmy. I gotta figure something out.
I think we should all shimmy. I know. We should all. Well, it's the one. It's the one tap.
Oh, it's just one.
Yeah, it's just the one tap.
When I'm a little bit too interested, she says, I do the like. And I was like, did she just retell? I was like, I'm watching her in front of church, like, what is happening? I was just talking, but that's what she said. So I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna roll with it. I'm gonna roll with it.
That's fine. We're all gonna look at each other from across church and be like.
I know. I love it. Natalie was like, "Oh my god, I know." She was like, "Natalie watches." And I don't know if you guys all watch. We do kind of go off topic sometimes, but most of the time.
All the time.
But we do talk about some stuff. There are things that we talk about. We talk about stuff. I did have an epiphany recently where I need to go heavier. I need to go deeper because that's my walk right now. So it's good. She'll keep things on the lighter side, but then she has her moments where this is how she feels. But I like she's my light balance because if I want to really go in sometimes and really I want to heavily talk about certain things.
She talks about it, I'm like, Here we go. Well, I don't feel the same way. So
right.
Can we not?
Or you just kind of like put a joke on it. But I feel it in my heart to really dig deeper. Because as I'm right now reading the book of John. Because you get your devotionals, right, and then you read everywhere, and you get little nuggets. But I wanted to like really dive in, and I read through a lot of reviews that starting with the book of John was probably the best one because he was the closest one to Jesus and walked with him. So as you learn more, you want to share more. So that's what I meant by digging deeper on that. I really want to tell everything that's in the Bible is happening today. And I think we should talk about it more. I feel like we're not loud enough. That's just my opinion. We're not loud enough, and I don't mean by volume. I mean just by speaking up. We're afraid of cancel culture. We're afraid of, offending somebody. And I feel that there are other platforms that are louder, and they want to, speak their truth, and I want to speak my truth. You know what I mean? So I'm going to start doing that. And you're fine. You're a new person. So Tony Robbins, you're going to teach me. Oh, we should have a little pit of coal. We should try that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We gotta mentally prepare for
He's like, no, I have to live with
I gotta make sure the fire marshal's next to us. I gotta make sure
My son-in-law's a firefighter.
Yeah, so we'll make sure he's on deck. See? It's all gonna work out.
I'm trying to think.
We should have like a sisterhood fire pit, let the past go, let's go forward. That's what I'm thinking.
We're gonna make sure everybody has health coverage.
Make sure nobody has hair product in their hair that day.
Oh, Maria.
This is flammable. We need to be careful.
But that would be a good. I'll video.
No, you're gonna do it.
I'll do it for moral support.
You can do it.
No,
we gotta do it. It's a mind over matter thing. We have to get into the spirit of understanding that, you know what? We're over. That's done. We're going forward.
I'm jumping off a plane, so.
Look at that.
Are you still doing it? Yeah, she wanted to do it for her birthday, but
we're gonna do it in December.
Yeah. Well, we're doing the boat thing in like December.
Oh yeah,
because we couldn't do it in October.
We could do it in October.
Damn rain.
Yeah, but boat is completely different than
jumping off a perfectly good airplane.
I mean,
are you gonna do it with somebody like on?
Yes, tandem.
Are they gonna hold you?
Yeah.
Like this.
Like a little pizza. Like a meatball.
Shout out to Jersey. Our 2 little meatballs.
Just make sure you do the mama meatball here.
I love it.
Whoever comes behind you,
I love it. Oh, you better do that when you dance. That's what I said.
That'll be Sam and Christian. They're coming right behind me.
Oh, they are jumping with you. Wow.
That's deep.
Y'all are invited to come and see.
No, it's fine.
To watch?
I would die.
I want to do it. Yeah, there's no way. My husband wanted to do that, and him and Jazzy, they wanted to do that years ago. No, Jazzy will still do it. She's. Oh, he did it.
I found out after.
Of course, because your heart is gonna be.
He did it, and afterwards he told me and showed me the video, and I almost died.
Yeah, and imagine if you would have known
and been watching it just happen. No, thank you, but I love you. I'm praying for you. Deep.
That's my new motto. I was telling Maggie, say and pray.
Yeah.
You say how you feel, and then you pray about it. You don't have to badger someone and cast your expectation on them. It's like say and pray. I think of our bodies as sticky notes of how we feel and our opinions and our judgments. Once I take off that sticky note, I'm throwing it out, and then just gotta pray about it, right? Because
Oh, that's a great analogy.
It's real hard to just.
That's all I'm gonna say. I have a sticky note for you.
But didn't I tell you?
I got a sticky note for you. I got a sticky note.
But not the super sticky ones.
Literally, I'm like, I have to really remember that, because like Lily's mom. I mean, I'm an only child, but I'm one of the oldest cousins. It's like, this is what we're gonna do. This is where we're gonna go. This is it. And then having 3 children. We all have different, not gifts, but just we all have different
roles.
Roles, styles. And I've always led. Without even wanting to, I've always led. But there are some people
that do so well.
Yeah, but there are sometimes I want to be led.
Yeah.
It's hard to be the manager of the family sometimes.
Yeah, I was the manager of people and manager of the family and manager of and I was like, sometimes I want to be led, you know? Yes,
hopefully in my next season I'll be led.
You could be led now.
Oh yeah,
by him, be led.
Yeah. That's what it is. That's what I'm doing.
Don't let just anybody lead you. Okay.
No.
All right. If they get the 3 shimmy, okay, then they can meet us.
Right.
They can meet us.
Right.
If they have 1 shimmy, that
One's not good enough.
exactly.
Not good. Not good.
I will talk about the time. Yeah, we can do that offline.
Oh, that's a but we still have to eat and partake and we have to eat bread together. So I appreciate you all. Who wants to take us out in prayer?
Yeah.
I guess me, because they're
The
looking at
mama
me.
meatball.
Yeah, mama
The one that goes, I'm the oldest here.
I'm
No,
not.
I am.
Oh, I said the one that says it every time we go.
Maybe you don't say
So
it.
Vivian's like, espérate.
Espérate.
I'm not gonna say it. So you wanna pray? No.
She's like, she got it.
All right, let's call this out.
All right. Father, thank you for bringing us here together and for letting us share experiences and for the time that we had here. I hope that all of us got something from this and that drew us closer to you and to each other, Lord. I thank you in your son's name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, I took a picture. You wanna, we can eat here and then.
No, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I need to eat and go.